What's up, guys? I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never, and welcome back to another Memecoin market update. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so we're just going to start off by kind of taking a look at the market as a whole. So if you look at Bitcoin right now, you can see that it's at 91,800. If you look at Ethereum, it's 3,300. Now, what you need to understand is that today is finally the day of the FOMC meeting. There's a chance that we get a lot of good news in the market. Now, a lot of good news does not mean that we're guaranteed to pump right now, though. As you guys know, it's oftentimes buy the rumor, sell the news. So even if we get good news, do not just expect a huge pump. Right now, Polymarket is heavily predicting that we do get rate cuts. And there is always a chance that we get some sort of an update on quantitative easing. If we end up getting huge news on quantitative easing, then that could be very bullish for the market. Regardless though, this is definitely something to watch. Expect volatility today. We oftentimes see volatility around these meetings. Again though, you come over to the crypto market and you can still see a lot of indecision. If you come over to the Memecoin market, you're seeing a lot of the same thing. PEPE actually over the last week or so had a decent breakout. However, now it's up 1% in the last day and it's down 0.46% in the last week. If you come over and you look at the PEPE chart though, you can see that it did actually get a little bit of a bounce. This is kind of what I'm talking about right here. If we use the measuring tool, you can see that it pumped up about 25%. Now, I know 25% is not a huge multiplier in the crypto market. However, it's not bad, especially when you start talking about projects that are the size of PEPE. What I would like to point out about PEPE is that it did actually lose major support. This is kind of the level that we were watching, the previous April 2024 lows. And you can see that PEPE did actually break beneath these levels, but as of right now, we are retesting them yet again. If we can hold this range, that'll be a bullish look for PEPE. However, I do think that's primarily going to come down to the overall market though. What's interesting about a lot of these meme coins is how big of discounts we're seeing. Obviously, we'll look at Dogecoin because it's the largest meme coin. Dogecoin is still down 80% from its all-time high. Now, obviously, Dogecoin is in a unique position because of the supply dilution, but it's still down 80% from its all-time high. You look at PEPE, which has been one of the strongest projects this entire cycle, it's down 83% from its all-time high 1 year ago. See, I'm getting a lot of questions about a lot smaller projects that are down like 85, 90% from their all-time highs. This right here should tell you everything you need to know. PEPE, which has clearly been a blue chip meme coin this cycle, is down 83% from its all-time high. When that's the case, you're not going to see a lot of huge breakouts in the market. You're just not. So you guys have to understand that. But because PEPE is down so much, you're seeing so many huge discounts in the market. SPX is another one that I like to look at because it's also been one of the strongest projects, and it's down 71% from its all-time high 4 months ago. All right, you look at something like Pangu, which has also been one of the strongest projects. It's down 78%. Crypto is one of the rare markets where you can buy projects at extreme discounts whenever the market pulls back. That's just part of the game. Crypto moves violently. But what I also like to look at is just overall volume. So if you look at PEPE right now, you can see that it has 517 million volume. I'm going to come over here and compare that to a lot of just projects in general. So I'll scroll down. You can see PEPE is the 42nd largest crypto. Again, 517 million volume. Look at the projects above it. 280 million, 81 million, 291 million, 216 million, 63 million, 97 million, so on. You get the point. You don't find a project with as much volume as PEPE until you find Aave. And then after Aave, it just keeps on going. That tells you right there, PEPE has excellent volume, and volume oftentimes signals interest. So whenever you're seeing something like that, there's clearly still a lot of interest in the meme coin market, plain and simple. Again, I want to be clear though, we are still seeing a lot of indecision with the market as a whole. If we come over here and we look at Bitcoin from a technical analysis standpoint, you can see that we're seeing potentially some tweezer tops. Now, the weekly time frame, I've been telling you guys that I am bullish on, and we have gotten a bounce to be fair. We had dropped all the way down to 80,500, and as of right now, we're 91,796. And we did actually reach 94,600. Now, if you look at the RSI and stochastics, we are still very oversold. This definitely does tell me that we have juice still. That said, though, it doesn't mean that we're going to break out right now. There is a chance that price action does get sold off when we come down and potentially put in a double bottom. But to be clear, as long as we do not put in a lower macro low, I am still going to be bullish on the larger time frames. And in order to put in a lower macro low, we'd have to drop beneath 74,400. If that happens, then I will completely change my tune. I would still personally be expecting a bounce, but I would expect the bounce to put in a lower macro high. If that ends up happening, then I would side with a lot more of the people that think we're heading into a bear market. But as of right now, it is hard for me to say that we are heading into a bear market when we're still holding a higher macro low. That's just the macro outlook for me. And if you look at the weekly time frame, you can also see that price action is swinging up into a higher low and the RSI is swinging down into a lower low, which is a very strong Class A bullish divergence. And that's not only on the weekly time frame, that is also on the monthly time frame. We have bullish divergence on the monthly time frame, and you have it from two locations. You can draw it from this low or you can draw it from this low. But price action is swinging up into a higher low and the RSI is swinging down into a lower low. Class A bullish divergence, which can often signal that you're very close to finding a bottom. Not to mention the monthly stochastics have not been this oversold since 2022, and that's the exact same thing with the RSI on the weekly time frame. The last time the RSI was this oversold for Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, Bitcoin was at $16,000 a coin. So that tells you right now that the current sentiment does not match price action at all. And I cannot stress enough, there are huge discounts in the market right now. If you guys understand what's going on from a macro standpoint, these could be some excellent times to load up. Obviously, that's not financial advice and nothing is guaranteed. Make sure you always do your own research in this market. I just personally still think the larger timeframes for Bitcoin look very good. I just want to be clear about that. But honestly, that's about it for the update today. As always, if you guys are interested in market updates just like this, then I always recommend you take a look at my Discord. We've also hit some huge multipliers in here. We've hit several different 200x projects. A $1,000 investment could have turned into over $200,000. So if this is the kind of community that you'd like to be a part of, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. And I'd love to have you guys in here with us. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about the meme coin market. If you enjoyed this content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.